Welcome everybody to the CHG podcast. That's David in a new environment for the day.
Yeah.
He has to do some babysitting, so he has to change his scenery. So that's
Well,
David. My
technically,
name's
my
RJ.
wife is doing the babysitting. I'm not. I'm
Well,
not trusted with babies.
he's there. He's
Yeah.
there to carry or I don't know, to do stuff whatever she tells him to do.
Yeah,
But yeah,
whatever my wife says.
that's David. My name's RJ. This is CHG. This is our gaming podcast. We talk about gaming news, hopefully intellectually, hopefully humorously. Yeah, we bring you guys what's going on. So there's a few things I needed to talk about with you. Of course, we're going to talk about the Bungie acquisition from Sony. That's a given. I don't know how this keeps like you keep telling me. No, it wasn't you. A coworker of mine on Tuesday, or wait, today's Tuesday. Yesterday, sent me an article and through our Teams chat, Microsoft Teams, and I was like, what is this? I thought it was something else, so I ignored it for a little while. But then I clicked on it like a half hour later, and I was like, I didn't click on it. I read the description. I was like, wait, what? So when I went to GameSpot, and I was like, yo, what? That was so crazy.
Yeah, I broke the Microsoft news, the Microsoft acquisition news to you.
You broke that to me, but then my coworker broke. I was like, I checked the news. This happened. It happened literally like 15 minutes after I was done checking the news in the morning.
You slipping, bro.
I would have saw it eventually.
Where's those notifications at?
I don't know. They're not there. They're not coming. But yeah. So we will discuss that. A couple of things I thought would be good questions to kind of facilitate conversation. But first we will cover our usual what we're playing. David, what are you playing, man?
I am playing Pokemon Arceus.
He sure as shit has. Yeah. He sure has.
So like we guys said the last time. So as of filming, yesterday was my birthday.
Happy birthday to him. He's 30 now.
I turned 30. And so just 30. Like any adult who's turning 30, I just sat in front of my TV and played video games all day.
No, he played Pokemon.
Specifically Pokemon all day.
Pokemon.
So
all day.
Yeah, this will be a little bit extended because as we said last week, I would have thoughts and feelings on Pokemon, and I do. So I'll just start off with, this is probably my favorite Pokemon game of all time. Like Heart Gold is up there. It's really hard to say which one, but it definitely could be if it continues to hold my attention like it has. That being said, all of the things that I've ever complained about the Pokemon on this channel is still complaints. So like you don't get they don't follow you around outside the Pokeball, even though they have the fucking sprites that walk around the world. So like they fucking already have it. They don't have an excuse. They just hate us. So hopefully that'll come in. There's a lot of thought online since it's like a there's an ability for updates that it will be updated and things like that, because they also don't have trainer battling, which I don't really care about, like person to person, like online battling. They don't have
online
that
battles. Mm-hmm. Online battles. Okay,
yeah, online battles.
But there's battles with people in the game.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although that's not like the focus. So like I'll explain it here in a second. But so there's no online battling. There is online trading, but no online battling. So they thinking that might get updated. So a lot of people are also saying, well, hopefully there'll be a Pokemon follow mechanic that gets updated later. But it is interesting because it's even like kind of in the lore of the game. So the lore of the game, this is like the first Pokemon interactions almost. And the people who have been living with Pokemon, they kind of like detest that you catch Pokemon in Pokeballs, because they just like live with their Pokemon. So their Pokemon are canonically just following them all the time because they just live with them. So like it's there, they just need to use it. But it doesn't really have a rival per se, because you're not trying to like be the best there ever was in this game. You're not trying to win a Pokemon League. You're literally making the first ever Pokédex. So you don't really have a rival for that. You're working with your other Survey Corps to go out and document Pokemon. There is an overall like kind of thing that's going on. Some of the elder Pokemon are going crazy because of this like time rift shenanigan shit. But there is no rival per se, which I guess they can't have a weak rival if they don't have any rival. So I mean, you know,
I would rather take no rival than a crappy rival.
yeah,
Quite
and it
honestly.
works. I don't miss it because it's not reminding me that there is someone. They do have these what do I call them? Misfortune girls, or like three sisters that kind of are like the precursor to Rocket, Team Rocket.
Oh,
They literally have
oh,
like not a Team Rocket like chant that they do, like how
yeah.
I'm not a Pokemon anime watcher. What's the Jane and
Jesse
Jesse and
James.
James?
Yeah.
They don't have Jesse and James Team Rocket thing, but they have thing that like I was like, this is like a precursor to Team Rocket. They even have like their little like I'm coin and blah 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 and like stuff like that.
All right.
And like they're not bad. Their Pokemon are actually pretty strong. The only problem as of right now is that they only have one each. Although the battle I just faced them at, you face them back to back to back. So I did have to face at least three fairly high level Pokemon at the same time, or like in succession. But anyway, so that's all my normal complaints, right? Oh, and then the XP share. Yeah, the XP share is back, and I'm still fucking pissed about it. I still have to like switch out my team just so I don't over level my team, and that's not the fun way to do it. Like you should want to use every Pokemon because you want to build a bond with them, and I'm just using different Pokemon because I don't want my main team to like be over leveled all of a sudden. So that's whatever. But I think that because they want it to be such an ease of use, and for some fucking reason they don't want to give us options or difficulty levels because the fuck us older gamers. But anyway, the reason why I like it is that there is the open world, although it is very sparse as far as like what's in the world. Like there's Pokemon and resources, and that's it. Like you don't really, unless it's in the story, you don't come across like trainers who are going to battle you. You don't come across any kind of like other things going on in the world. There are just Pokemon roaming in certain spots and resources that you use your Pokemon to gather. So it is pretty sparse. The graphics aren't the best, but it is like I feel more like it's my story than I ever have in any other Pokemon game because I get to choose what's important to me. So you have the building of the Pokédex, which is more than just capturing Pokemon this time. You have to like, so let's say it's like Eevee. So they want you to capture Eevee a set amount of time so they can understand is every Eevee the same thing. So you have to capture Eevee maybe like 25 times. There's like progression. So like the first time is capture it 2 times for a point, capture it 6 times for another point, and so on. But they also have battle and defeat EVs X amount of times. They have capture EV and evolve it X amount of times. Capture EV and evolve it into different variations. Capture a female and a male one. Capture a different sized one. And
Different
that brings me
size.
to that brings me to other things. So like in the Pokédex, you know that like it lists the Pokemon's height when you catch it, and some of them are taller, some of them are shorter, and some of them weigh more, some of them way less. But in the like the past Pokemon games, it didn't matter because all the sprites were the same. In this one, I put a Beedzel, the Pokemon with the sack around its
Oh,
neck,
Buzel.
and
Buzel.
Bu-
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The water
I
type.
put a Buzel that was 2 feet 5 inches next to a Buzel that was 2 feet 8 inches, and they were different sizes, and it was fucking awesome. And they have these things called alphas, where um, they're like the alpha of like a Pokemon group. Um, so I had alpha, the evolvation of Bidoof. Um, can't remember, but Badul or
Babarl.
whatever.
No, wait. I forget which one's which, but it's Babarl is
Babarl.
the I don't know which one's which. I think Bidoof is first.
Bidoof is the first
Babarl.
one. Babarl is the second
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
and he is massive. Like he's like 3 regular sized Babarls, but just a big ass Babarl, and it's just cool. Just little stuff like that, just fleshing out the world. And again, like so, I can choose to go really into the Pokédex and like fill it out and complete every single challenge, even though I only need to complete an X amount to get the full view of the Pokemon. But then I can completely fill it out. Or if I want to, I can just go on the main storyline and and do the main storyline about the frenzied guardian Pokemons. So like, I don't know, there's just a lot more freedom. Like I feel like I'm in my own story, that I can dictate what I want to do when I want to do it. It's cool to see like the history and like things that from Pokemon games, like the Driflooms. So like the Drifloom Pokédex entry, it talks about how it carries kids away.
Yeah.
And there's a mission where like there's a parent comes to you and is like, hey, I'm concerned because like my kid's playing with a Drifloom and like I just don't know if that's okay. And you're just like, fuck no, it's not. Like you're like, no. And so like you go out there and the kid is like the Drifloom won't let me go home, and you're just like, and you have to like scare the Drifloom off. So it's just really cool. Like it's fresh. Like, does it need work? Absolutely. Like it is definitely like the first, in my opinion, it's like the first draft of this new formula for Pokemon. There's a lot of rough edges. It can be improved in a lot of different ways, just from not even my ideas about how I would want to do a perfect Pokemon game that we've talked about a lot, but just like smoothing out some of the rough edges. I like all the characters in it. There's no annoying character or a character that I just don't want to don't really care about. Like there are none that I really care about, but there's none that I'm like, that I hate. So like if they continue this, like it is my wish that this becomes the mainline games. That the old games, the old formulas we throw away, and these become the mainline games because there's so much more potential. I think the old line games, that potential's tapped. You can't get, like, they've perfected it. You can't get any better than what they've been doing. So you have this new formula, and the resource collecting, the open world, you can literally, like, while Pokemon are fighting, even though it's still a turn-based thing, you can run around the Pokemon fighting, so you can see the attacks from different angles and shit like that. And if you get too close, like if you're too close to the action and a big attack goes off, then you can get damaged. Like your person can get damaged.
Just like in the show.
And if you take too many hits, you yourself can black out. Like it never happens if you're smart, because you have to be dumb to let it happen. Because it's like, you can be in front of like a Giga Impact, and as long as that's your first hit on yourself, then you're fine.
Really? You can survive a Giga Impact?
Yeah. So like, because it's for kids. They don't want a kid just running into a Giga Impact, being like Pikachu.
Nah, man.
But yeah,
you run into a hyper beam, you're dead, son.
But I'm super stoked for it. It's a lot of fun. Just seeing the Pokemon in more of a 3D environment is really cool. The new, more kind of Final Fantasy-esque turn-based combat is cool. So I don't want this to be the entire podcast, but there's so many cool things about it. Okay, so in the past Pokemon games, right, you had 6 moves, and if you wanted to learn a new move over an old move, that old move was gone, right?
4 moves, not 6.
4 moves, my bad. 4 moves, right? And so if you learned a new move, one of those 4 moves was gone forever, unless you went to the move remember or deleter, which no one ever fucking does, because like unless you made a mistake, you did. Well, unless you make a mistake,
quite a bit. No, it wasn't a mistake. It's just I didn't need it now, but I needed to get it later.
Well, guess what? You don't fucking have to worry about that shit no more, RJ, because it just goes into a move bank. So you have a move bank, and you can decide at any time during your journey to go and to change moves and take a move and put in there. Like, so let's say you have Fire Blast, right? And you use Fire Blast 5 times, and you can't use it anymore. Normally you would have to sit on that. Not anymore. Move Fire Blast out, put Fire Wheel in, bam.
That's all you need to do. Now that's RPG for you right there.
Yeah. So like,
let's straight up RPG.
You have right so you're going to come up on somebody who has a certain type. So, and you have maybe a water Pokemon, but he knows an ice move, so you can move that in there to face off against grass types and still have a chance of grass types.
Oh man, that actually could have some. Oh man, fuck! That can change the game.
Yeah, and here's my thing: it won't change it in competitive. No, it won't change it in competitive.
Oh, that's what you think.
But think about it, like, because you can't change it out during the battle.
Oh wait, you can't. You're right.
Yeah, it's all pre-battle stuff. So instead
we'll see how they apply it. we'll because online battling isn't a thing yet. We'll see how they apply it. We'll see.
So I mean, there's stuff like that. So for evolving Pokemon, it'll just tell you like, hey, this Pokemon can evolve, and then you go into the menus and press boom, evolve, instead of having to like hit the B button or whatever, or like let's say I have an
Yeah,
Eevee,
stop
right?
it.
Like
Yeah,
let's
you
say I
gotta
have an
stop
Eevee
it.
and it goes to evolve into an Umbreon because it's nighttime, but like I don't want an Umbreon, so like you might forget or whatever, and then have two Umbreons. Instead, you can just remember like, hey, I just need to evolve it during the daytime to get an Espeon,
But
and
what?
bam.
Oh gosh, what was the? I don't remember what it was that changes. I think it's a special attack, something to do with
What?
Cascoon and Silcoon. I forget what
No, that's just
determined.
a sex, I think.
I don't think it was a sex
Or
thing.
it's so like when
But I
so
forget. But
I don't know what it would
for
be.
that one, I don't. But most other ones, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I get that. That works out really well. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's just like little like like quality of life changes like that are just really cool, and they don't, I think, affect the integrity of Pokemon at all. It just makes it easier, and like for people who know what they want to do with Pokemon, I think it makes it easier. They also don't have breeding, which kind of sucks. So
Hmm.
like I don't have like if you get like a high, like some Pokemon are only available like midway or at the end game, so they're going to be a lot higher level. So if you wanted for whatever reason to start out with a low one, you can't basically, which kind of sucks. They have these things called effort, um, and you can basically it's like the proteins and stuff. How you would feed a protein to make their attack go up. It's like that, except it's just overall like you have this grit sand or grit whatever, and you can level up their um, health and
Well,
attack and
I
stuff like that.
imagine breeding will be something they'll probably add later. That's not something
Me too.
they could easily add. Honestly, it doesn't seem that hard.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Sorry. One more thing. One more
Bro,
thing.
we're
One
almost
more thing.
20 minutes in.
I know.
20,
I
dude.
know. I know.
We
It's
can
so good.
always do another podcast on
One
Pokemon.
last thing. One last. I swear to God, one last thing. So the fighting is also kind of mixed up, right? Because now they have like Final Fantasy, instead of it being turn for turn, turn for turn. Maybe if you use a quick attack, you get your turn first, but then they immediately get their turn.
Okay.
Um, Based on your Pokemon stats, let's say you have a Pokemon that has really high speed, but you're facing a Pokemon with really low speed. You could get out your order of priority for attacks. You could get two attacks out before they get to their attack.
Hmm.
There's also if you master a move, you can go with an aggressive style attack or a agile style attack. If you go with agile, you hit a little bit softer, but you get higher priority. Or you can hit aggressively, so you get a higher boosted attack power, but you get low priority. So like there's more strategy within
That definitely
the
changes the
battle.
game too, because then it almost because it's not everything. It's not all about speed anymore, per se.
Yeah.
So that definitely, because especially when you're in the OU tier, which I don't know if you know, or overused, where like we're most of like the most used Pokemon in tournaments that aren't Ubers, like legendaries and stuff. Um, Usually their speeds are hovering around the same. A lot of times they're not they're not too far off from each other. So like that little extra tier kind of, yeah, that definitely can
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
things
Do you
up.
go for the strong attack, or do you go for multiple
Yeah,
attacks, or do you do the normal?
that could definitely change things up because
Anyway,
like
so yeah,
yeah.
Pokemon, yeah,
All right, so
it's good.
Pokemon has redeemed himself somewhat, at least for David. So congratulations. If we want to continue on with this later, we can. But yeah.
Sorry.
So
I'm really
I mean,
excited.
I don't honestly have much to talk about what I'm playing. It's just Neo still. I mean, it's going to be my life for at least another couple weeks. I beaten the second difficulty on the third, but this is where the real builds come into play, and so yeah, I am. I'm actually now starting to get really deep into the builds, watching some build videos, see which one I like and which one I don't. But like, you can have different equipment sets, so I can actually be having separate builds for separate things, depending on what I want to do. But the thing is, it's tough sometimes to get the builds, because each of the items, as you know, have their own effects, and you can temper them and reforge them, but it costs a lot of money, and I'm always out of money. It really echoes my real life, and so it really hurts, and so it's just taking forever because you have to like go through missions again to get money again. Oh man, it's brutal, but but I'm loving every minute of it. Anyway, so there was something I saw just today. Well, actually, first of all, let me something really quick. So it was confirmed today that the FTC, that's the Federal Trade Commission for the U.S., will be reviewing the Xbox Activision acquisition or merger, whatever you want to call it. They didn't say when. They just said that they did confirm they will be doing it. And I guess I also an article that I read. Apparently, the head of the FTC at the moment, I don't know who, I don't remember her name, but apparently they actually have been more strict on big time mergers and acquisitions, and they've actually stopped a couple high profile mergers in our country, in the U.S. We wouldn't have known about. I didn't know about them. I guess there was one on Lockheed Martin and Aerojet, which are, I believe, are aerospace companies or like industrial goods companies. I only know them because I worked my previous job. We did business with them. Like they were one of our clients. They bought, either we bought from them, or they bought from us. But that's the reason why I even know those names. But I guess they were trying. I forget who was buying who, but the FTC stopped it. And there was one. I think there was a more tech one that I don't remember any of the names, but it was. I remember hearing about it recently. So I think it's somewhat recent. But they stopped that too. And given that this merger is worth $68 billion fucking dollars, and Activision is like either the first or the second first or second first biggest publisher in the world, like, so they're definitely they will be reviewing this, so we'll have to see what happens. This, we'll see. I mean, I think it'll still go through, but it may not go through
Yeah,
exactly the way that they think it will,
yeah. I
in my
mean, there
opinion.
might be some minor changes. My thing that I was listening to is some people were talking about it, and they just said like, yeah, this is a huge acquisition, but it can't really be considered a monopoly, which is what they would like cancel it for. It because like the gaming umbrella is so big that just that it really can't be considered a monopoly when there's so many other options for gaming in the space. So
Well,
like for us gamers, we might feel it's a monopoly because they're quickly gulping up everything that we play. But in the business sense, there are so many other realms and competitors and publishers and stuff that although yes it's huge, it's not a monopoly.
it's it, I guess it depends on how broadly you define gaming then. Because I agree, if you just look at gaming in the macro sense, it's not. You're right, because there are, like you said, so many facets of what it means to be gaming. But it depends on how much scrutiny they want to put on this, and how fine, they want to look at the type of gaming that this is going to mostly impact. They probably won't, but if they did, then that might change their tune. Um, but like I said, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, I think I'd be surprised if this goes in without any changes, without like nothing. Like, that would surprise me. I still think it will happen, but if it goes through clean, that will surprise me. But I wanted to bring that up. It was brought up. It was kind of hitting the news today, as of today, February 1st. I thought that was important to bring up. We've already did two podcasts on it, so we're not going to dig too deep into it. But we would want to kind of just follow that up. And we'll probably be presenting more news as it comes along, just to keep everyone updated. But the bigger thing I wanted to talk about was so well, not bigger, but just like whatever. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I saw just today. Maybe you saw too that the Dark Pictures anthology.
Mhm.
Uh, they're trying to take in. They're kind of like, well, it's the same people that made Until Dawn, and this has been like their successor to that.
Technically it's in the
Um,
same universe.
well, they make no mention of Until Dawn, but they use the same engine. I can tell you that. It's the same fucking game engine. It's like 6-7 years old now, and it is showing. I will say that. Um, they just they didn't announce it, but it was leaked that it looks like the next 5 games have been revealed. We already knew about one, because it was talked about at the end of House of Ashes. So we already knew one was coming later this year, but there's an additional 5 that have been revealed, or leaked, I should say. They looked official enough, like the logos looked old official enough. So we'll have to go. But the only reason why I'm commenting on this leak is because we don't usually do that. But the reason why I'm bringing it up because it had me thinking. Maybe if these games aren't it, we already do know that there will be more. They are planning on making more past the one that they already revealed. We already knew that. We didn't know 5, but we knew they weren't done. This was going to be a thing. And my issue is that all of the games, I guess if you include Until Dawn, the 4 games that they've released so far in this context have all been the same type of game. I guess you could say almost point and click, but like decision based, narrative driven, horror adventures. And I have a feeling that's probably the direction they're going to keep going with the next ones. My issue is that how long can they keep that up? Because it reminds me of Telltale. Because before they unceremoniously got fucking dumped a few years back, before that had even happened, I was reading a really long article. I forget where, but before any of that even had happened, Telltale was not doing good financially. And the reasons were because they were doing the same game over and over again. Only difference was that just a different property they were basing it off of. People were getting tired of it. Like after Wolf Among Us came out, that was their peak. Like Walking Dead season 1, Wolf Among Us, maybe Walking Dead season 2. But then after that, they never got the same numbers. Because people were like, yeah, your narratives are still great, your characters are still intriguing, your stories are great, but it's the exact same thing. You're not changing anything, you're not mixing anything up, and you're not Pokemon, so you don't get away with that. You know what I mean? Like you're not Pokemon, you're not Call of Duty, you're not Battlefield, you're not GTA. You don't get away with that. Only they do, right? And they're lucky. They're not many franchises can do that, right? So it made me start thinking, do you could they go down the same route? Like, yeah, people buy them, they're great for let's players, they're great for YouTube, but is that enough to help their bottom line? Like, they got 5 games in the pipeline potentially, and I'm just like, yo, that costs some money. I mean, yeah, you're reusing the same engine because we all know, because everything looks the exact same. Like, I'm sure the next 5 games will look the same too. Even on the next gen hardware, they'll probably look the exact same. So I know they're reusing the hardware or the engine, which I know will save some money, but like, if that's still more time, labor, and everything that goes into it, and shipping costs and all that shit, I'm like, is this gonna be feasible? Like, I'm scared that we're gonna get another repeat of Telltale, of like a studio shutting down because they can't diversify. What do you think?
I think so. You have a couple different things. Like it is a comparison to Telltale, but I think there's some marked difference. One, they're not paying for licensing. Telltale got way too aggressive and bought licenses that really they couldn't afford, so that they could get those numbers back up, because Telltale was like, well, we just need to make a game for a more established IP, and that'll get our sales back up. But it didn't happen. They paid for Batman, they paid for Borderlands, they paid for Game of Thrones,
Excuse me.
Marvel, for Guardians of Galaxy.
They did that?
Yes, they did.
They did that?
Yeah.
They did that too?
Yeah, that was I think it was their last game.
That had to be their last one.
I think it was their last game.
I forgot that even came out. Oh my
So
gosh.
they were paying.
Now, those are
for
huge
things.
franchises too.
Yeah.
I wonder how much that cost.
A lot.
I mean, a lot, but
more than they made. Well, more than they made.
I mean, that's a good point, because they started. I mean, I'm not saying Walking Dead is small or Wolf Among Us is small, but they're smaller than Game of Thrones, because they did that at the height of Game of Thrones. And Batman and Marvel. Those are probably got to be way more expensive than Walking Dead and Fables cost.
Yeah. So you have that. You also have that. you're right that they probably save money on the same engine. It's probably not voice actors are not you you know they need to get paid, but they are underpaid. It's pretty they have every now and then they have an established voice actor on there, stuff like that, but it's not that much money in comparison to um, like everything else, motion capture, stuff like that, which I don't know how much motion capture they need to do for the same running, getting
I
sawed up scenes.
I mean, yeah,
Um,
no one's seen them do what they're doing, but
yeah,
they do most of it. They do
yeah,
most of it. But there is at least one like established
yeah,
actor or actress in so far in each
everyone.
one of those, and everyone's
Yeah,
last one was Ashley Tisdale. I mean, I guess she's kind of more like a B or C celebrity, but I digress. But the
they're
last
all
one,
B or C celebrities,
no,
but
the
like
last one,
their names.
Man of Medan, or no, yeah, Man of Medan. Wasn't that dude from Breaking Bad or something? Like I saw there was a dude on there. I was like, not the main make Breaking Bad dude,
I don't know.
his sidekick guy. I don't remember his name.
I don't know. Anyway, but to
Whatever.
get to my other point is that they are working with a genre that always shows up for everything. You're talking the horror genre, they show up for movies that they know are going to be shit because it's
They do.
horror and
They
they
do.
need more of it.
They
So
do.
like, they
They're crack addicts.
they want to be scared. So hey, if they can get like a little line, if they can get a little line, they're going to snort that little line up. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter. Like, hey, if it's there, if it's some dust on the table from the last guy,
Oh
like,
man.
it's
Oh.
gonna find a way
Oh.
into their system. So it's the same type of thing. Whereas Telltale, they kept on changing genres. It's Walking Dead, so kind of horror based. It's comic book based. It's even though I loved Wolf Among Us, but it's weird original
That was
fairy
like that
tales.
was a strange one. I didn't know
You
what to call it.
know,
Like noir. It was a noir
yeah,
genre. That's what it was.
noir kind
Yeah.
of dark fairy tales or original fairy tales
Hmm.
things. Like they went all over the place, so they were never drawing from the same pool of customers other than people who liked Telltale games, and that's always going to be smaller than the people who like the genre you're working with or the medium or IP that you're working with. So they're always doing horror, which is always a starved demographic, starved niche. There's never enough horror movies. There's never enough horror things for them, and they have adequate storytelling that it keeps people wanting to come back. So they're never going to make gangbuster money, but I think that they have a formula here that can stay, you know, for a long period of time. I think they're up to like 3 or 4 human centipede movies. So like
I
if you
I
can
was
get if you get 4 human centipede movies,
bro. I have a guilty confession. So I haven't seen them, but I spent way too much time researching it on Wikipedia one day. I was like reading all three. I didn't even know they came up with a third one. I knew there was a second, but I didn't know there was a third. And of course they try to like as if like there's fans. Like he like I guess the director tried to like bring things back from the first and like it all like full circle shit. And I'm like, yo, what?
so yeah, if there can be 3 human centipede movies, then there can be 20 Dark Pictures games. Like
That's a terror. I hate the fact
equivalent
that
exchange, man.
I hate the fact that you're right. I hate the fact that you're right because with that particular analogy, I hate that so much,
Yeah.
and I hate you now for saying that, for bringing that up. The fact that you know there's three is a problem too. Don't let that be known. I'm sure there's some of you guys that had no idea there was three of them, and good for you. But now, fuck you, because now you know.
Yeah, now we all know.
um,
Let that seep into your brain.
oh gosh, oh god. Anyways, yeah, I wanted to bring that up because that was just an interesting thing. I mean, you have a good point. I mean, horror is a safer genre to get into. That makes sense. Um, I do wish though. I hope though eventually, with at least one of these games that they come out, they do try to I don't know spin the wheel a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
like keep it horror. That's fine. You can keep it narrative focused. People love those. But I don't know, man. Just something. It just something seems to be. I think eventually people will, even the people who do love them, are eventually going to be like, how is this? There's nothing different. You know what I mean? Like, and also, how many more supernatural things? Like, there's only so many supernatural type of things that you can do.
I
So
don't know.
I'm curious.
Horror movies in the horror genre, although there have been movies that have switched it up, and those tend to be ones that get a lot of praise because they flip narratives on their head and stuff like that. But there is a reason why the jock stoner horror stereotypes in horror are stereotypes, because they're in 99% of horror movies. So horror movies have never been afraid to use and reuse the same tropes and throw a
They
different
haven't.
monster, or a different maybe setting or wrinkle. So
Well, I do wonder. I don't know if you knew, but last I looked it up, horror movies have been historically one of the cheapest movies, some of the cheapest movies to make. I forget why, but they
if I had to
usually
take
are the
a
cheapest.
totally uneducated guess, from a person who has not studied or been in the film industry at all, so now we're way off our base. But I think it's because that's not like the expensive things, like special effects, CG, stuff like that, are not what horror fans are there for. They want the practical effects, right? Like, they want real blood. They want to see something really get chopped off. And that's where practical effects come into place, not CGI. And also, the acting doesn't have to be that great. Even
And they
the
usually
filming
grab
doesn't have to
people.
be that great.
Okay, I
Like, you
wouldn't
just
know
have to
that,
have jump
but
scares and stuff like that.
I will say that's the one of the few genres where you can just grab people. You
Yeah,
can just fucking grab people. It
just
don't fucking
where's
matter.
your fodder?
Um,
Your demon
yeah, so I
fodder.
guess that is one of the few genres where you actually can it doesn't hurt the film as much to just
Even some
grab
of the
people
best
and then blow it up.
horror movies that have come out lately, the ones from uh, Keenan, the
Yeah,
Keenan
yeah,
and
yeah,
Peele,
yeah, yeah.
Peele, or is it Keenan? They came out.
Couldn't tell
Anyway,
you.
none of his actors that he had in those movies were anyone I had ever seen before.
At the time, no, but
At the
now
time,
some of
no.
them have
Yeah, now
blown
they're
up. Now some of
now
them
they're
have blown
big.
up.
But at the time, because it's all about the story, the suspense, how you build it. Yeah, the actors need to be good enough to carry that story, carry that suspense. But you're not going to a horror movie because Leonardo DiCaprio is in the movie. Oh, that would be sick.
That'd be
But like, that's
weird.
not where you're going.
That'd be weird. That'd be so weird.
I'd go
um,
see it.
but anyways, yeah. So I was gonna say though, I do wonder if that translates to games. I do
I'm sure it
wonder
does.
if
Yeah.
horror games are cheaper to make than other types of games. I wonder. I've never looked into it or seen
I would
anything
say
about it, but maybe.
this kind of game, like this kind of horror game, where it is a story horror game, is
Mhm.
cheaper to make. But I think it has more to do with it being a story based game instead of like, I bet Evil Within was pretty expensive to make in the
Yeah,
same
that's
realms of
like
other games.
that's a third person action adventure horror game. Like
Yeah,
this is not. Yeah, no
this is just a
no
horror
dark picture game.
experience.
It's a point and click.
Yeah,
Kind of point and click. Decision based narrative focused horror game, which is a lot
yeah.
different. Um, okay, yeah, I kind of just wanted to cover that. That's kind of like our main, or like our, or kind of like our appetizer conversation. Because I kind of saw it today, and it just made me start thinking. Because I don't want them to go down the same route. Because what happened to Telltale was, oh man,
Yeah.
that was rare.
The fact, though, the fact
You don't see shit happen like that. The way that it went down,
it
that
made me
was
sad when I
weird.
thought that I wasn't going to get it Among Us too, but now it's
Oh, we
back
were all
in.
sad. We were
Now it's alive
all
again.
sad. We were all sad. I was more sad about that than like no Walking Dead. I'm like, no, just no. I need Wolf Among Us 2. I need that. Like that game will be a day one for me. I will
Yeah.
play that day one. As long as it depends on how they do it. If it's episodic again. But
I don't
I
think it'll be
will
episodic again. I
I
don't think
hope
so.
it probably won't, but I definitely will be picking that up. That was the bee's knees. Anyway, so our main topic today, like we alluded to earlier at the start of the podcast, is yes, as of yesterday, Sony bought
Bungie.
Bungie for $3.8 billion yesterday. I don't know if this acquisition is going to have to go through the FTC. Um,
They all do. All mergers do.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure this will be not a problem. But because also this is a developer, right? This is different than a publisher, right? Bungie makes a game at this
Yeah.
moment. They make a game,
They
and that
want to
a
make other
game they
games, and
want
this might
to,
allow
but
them to make other games. But
maybe.
yeah,
But here's the thing. So this acquisition, at least for the moment, and probably for the next couple of years, is a little weird, a little interesting. So 'cause I was reading more into it. So Sony bought Bungie. Bungie, as everyone, most people know, they make Destiny. They previously made Halo, which that's the weirdest thing. But
it's one of
Halo,
those legacy things, like the same thing that was
uh,
weird about Crash and
yeah,
you know.
bro. When the
But
crash,
we don't have Halo on the PlayStation. Like that's it's
yeah,
just the
yeah.
person who used to make it, so it's
It's
not
yeah,
that,
yeah,
but it's
yeah. It's just the
still
Halo.
pretty
It's the Halo
weird.
makers. It's very strange.
It was
Um,
strange when they were being like when Destiny came out on the PlayStation. That's when it like I think it's over now. Like my weird feeling to it. It was weird when they were like when the Bungie logo came up on a PlayStation when Destiny was out.
well, but then you saw Activision after that. You're like, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so we have like a little bit of a history thing. So Sony and Bungie have a little bit of relationship before this. When Destiny came out, there was like exclusive PlayStation content for it. I think maybe even with Destiny 2, but I'm not sure. But I know Destiny 1 for sure. So they already have a working relationship before all this, and history with Bungie. So they were first owned by Microsoft. They were able to get out. They were independent, but then Activision got them, and then they were under Activision up until 2 years ago, maybe. And then they went independent again, and they were sub-publishing their own, like they were doing their own thing. I mean, I don't know why they became sub-publishing. They didn't publish anything, but they said they were now sub-publishing
More
self.
more
They,
Destiny DLC.
they were
They
just
published
like,
more Destiny DLC.
now we're, well, I don't even know how much. They only was like one Destiny expansion, I think, in that time. But anyway, so they were by themselves now, independent, um, and now Sony is taking them up. However, so the thing and that's the kind of the thing that makes it interesting for me, because so Sony now owns them, but Bungie has a history of being able to get out of contracts or whatever, or working with bigger publishers. I mean, they left Microsoft and Activision. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like interesting of what kind of relationship this is going to be, right? And not only that, but at least for the foreseeable future, Bungie, if they make anything, it will be multi-platform. They confirmed it. Sony confirmed it. So it's if they come up with something in the next year or so, it will be multi-platform. Destiny will continue to be multi-platform. Any content, I mean, they might do some some exclusive shit, but like majority of the content they release for Destiny 2 still, if they do anything more going forward, will still be multi-platform. So it makes me wonder, like, I wonder when and how the fruits of this acquisition will come to labor for Sony with this Microsoft. Because like they had to buy them for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, they're now under PlayStation's Game Studios now, like their new Game Studios label, which is their first party label. Like, that's their first party label name. So now they're under that. You know, so they have to do it for a reason. It had
Yeah,
to be for a reason. So I'm wondering. Like, I have no idea what it could be, but I am wondering how and when we'll see this acquisition actually come, to fruition.
yeah. So in my mind, you have a couple different things. You have one, you have their Game Pass that they're going to be coming out with. I think that Destiny games and anything that Bungie comes out with in the future will be on their Game Pass, however long it survives. Um, and I think that's a reason for it. They wanted to bolster what they'll have on tap for that. Also, they have, although Bungie might not make anything exclusive, although those are just words, you can change that. But they might, continue to do multi-platform things. But now Sony has access to talent that they did not have access to before. So nothing's stopping them from taking talent from Bungie and putting them on other projects within the PlayStation suite of studios. So you have that creative ideas that might be flowing back and forth. So that's my two main things. Is I think it bolsters their Game Pass. Um, which will get if there's huge Bungie fans out there that want to play a Bungie game, although it will be multi-platform, they can get it on their Game Pass and it'll be, they can just bundle that up. So they'll be incentive to that. And then also, I do think that you will see some bleeding of talent out and into Bungie and to other studios within the Sony's corporation of studios.
We'll have to see about that last point because Bungie and Sony insisted. Now, like you said, it can change, but they insisted for now that Bungie is now under PlayStation Studios, but they're still operating as an independent entity, which kind of makes sense. Bungie is pretty fucking big.
Yeah.
It actually has 900 employees, which apparently makes it one of the biggest studios in the world, not just the country, in the world. Which I was like, damn, son, 900 people. That's got to be across the world. That can't just be in Bellevue. Which, by the way, Bungie's station in Washington, Bellevue, our home state. Just a little plug there. But anyways, they'll never hire us. Anyways, yeah, so it's got to be across the world and stuff. But so they're big enough to be their own still under by themselves. But we'll have to see about that bleeding in and out, taking some talent, put him on some other projects or vice versa, because I mean, when it comes to Sony's first party titles, man, they're getting a level of polish that rivals Nintendo's polish back, from yesteryear, with their exclusives. They're getting to that point, we're seeing it consistently. Whether it's an internal studio or a third party in the sense of like previously Nier, not anymore, but before Nier, and then Persona, because those weren't made by Sony. But like, it was just like any exclusive that was coming out of Sony was just a fucking banger. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm curious to see what would happen if, what happens now with Bungie. I mean, maybe they may not do anything multi-platform from now, but if things stay good between those two, there probably will be a exclusive title eventually from Bungie for Sony. And it will be interesting to see if you take that talent level of Bungie with all those resources mixed with Sony's resources and their continued and impressive level of polish that they've been putting in their own first party titles to seeing that mesh together. It'll be interesting to see. We won't be seeing that for at least 2 or 3 years. In my opinion, I don't think so.
I think another thing that we can look forward to as gamers, and not necessarily like we are more wondering like what's in it for Sony, which is a little bit harder than, in my opinion, what's in it for Bungie, because what Bungie gets out of it and what we as gamers will hopefully get out of it is that this gives them the financial backing. Like, yeah, Activision gave them some financial backing, but Activision, in my opinion, their goal was, hey, make us more money from Destiny. So like Activision just wanted them to do Destiny. I honestly think that Sony is going to be like, hey, Destiny was a good run. If you want to keep on supporting Destiny, cool. Like, do that. There's still a lot of people who play Destiny. But I think that this will allow Bungie to put out a new IP and get the same kind of hype around this new IP, and it'll be all in PlayStation's name, even if it is multi-platform. It'll be all in PlayStation's name that they had when they came out with Destiny, and there was a huge amount of hype over Destiny.
If you weren't there, you just don't know, man.
So like there was more hype over Destiny than a new Halo. Like than the new 343 Halo. There was way more hype over it.
Oh, bro. Destiny was the last I still feel Destiny was the last like just humongously hyped, just stupid game.
Yeah, we threw a fucking banger.
Yeah, well, you threw a fucking banger. I was just playing my part. That's another story, though. But we worked at GameStop when that launched, and he was my manager. And he fucking went. He struck a deal with a local pizza joint, got free pizza, held a fucking party because that was also the last proper midnight release. If you guys remember those back in the day. A proper midnight at midnight, not 9 p.m. to match with Eastern time. No, it was at midnight. And we all stayed. It was fucking awesome. But anyways, that was like the last one. I think the closest Division came out a little after that, which I know that was crazy hype too. But both of those games just went down, bro. It was like Destiny,
so both of them leveled out, which was just crazy. Like they both came back up, but
I mean, it took a long time. And the Destiny 2 got a lot of hype, and then that was like this fucking Destiny 1. Like, what the fuck? It's like they followed the exact. So, but I feel like you're right though. Like when it came to Activision, this is kind of where you get the sense. I'm not saying Sony's not monkey hungry sons of bitches, because every publisher is. I mean, come on, you're trying to make money for a reason, right? But Activision's probably seemed a little more egregious. I mean, I could kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a total bunch of horror stories between Bungie developers and like, or their executive team and Activision's executive team, of them just fucking breathing down their necks, just like, you better put up more Destiny 2, more Destiny, boy. Like, I don't care how bad the game is. I don't care how much your audience hates it. We want Destiny.
I think we see that difference in just, and I'm gonna have to plug my computer or I'm gonna lose you. So let me
do it. Go do it.
I have a little bit, so let me put my point out there, and then you can talk about why I do that. Is that you see that in Sony's portfolio, because they have games, most of their big games, all of their big games, are not microtransaction heavy games. God of War, Spider-Man, Persona, Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, they're not microtransaction games. They let their studios make a really good fucking game, and then they don't monetize the shit out of it. Whereas Activision, everything they fucking make pretty much is monetized the shit out of it. Even fucking Crash and Crash Team Racing was monetized to this shit. So like, but Sony has shown that like, hey, they just make fucking great games, and hopefully Bungie will be allowed to do that. Because there were stories that Bungie didn't really want to have the microtransactions. Like they knew that they needed, like that was going to be the kind of platform, but they wanted to make more of a story-based game, and it kind of got lost in the whole hubbub of making money instead. So hopefully this will let them make just a game they want to make.
Excuse David while he plugs in his laptop now. Oh, look at that butt. Oh yeah. Anyways, yeah, it definitely does show it. I mean, and this kind of leads in. I mean, we're not going to get too deep, but it kind of makes me start thinking again about the Activision thing, because it seems to be PlayStation was like, okay, our Eternal games are going to do whatever the fuck we want to just. We're gonna get it. We're gonna win all the awards. Like we're gonna win all the awards with our games, and then we'll let the third party people, actually make the real money that we need. But that's why it's going to be even more of a loss if Sony doesn't get to keep Call of Duty after 2 or 3 years, because they did confirm they will be getting the next few CODs, but like we'll see what happens after that. So it's like they will have to look at something, because they don't want to go bankrupt. Or maybe they fucking do. I don't know. Also, side note about CTR. I love CTR so much that none of that shit bothered me. So when you talk with when you have like gamers, you are frozen. Can you hear me? Okay. Now you're not. Now you're good. You were frozen for a second though. I want to make sure
you were frozen too.
Anyways, I was gonna say. Okay, well we're good now. But anyways, so now what? When there's like a game,
we're losing it.
Froze again.
We were good this whole time, and we were good this whole time. Now we're losing.
You got to plug in your laptop, and now everything's ruined.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Oh my gosh! We're going to end the stream or end the podcast. Are we good?
Yeah.
Are we good? Okay. I was just gonna say I didn't mind any of this.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mind any of the CTR microtransactions at all. I even bought a few. That's how much I loved the game. Like I just wanted this shit so bad.
It was a really fucking good game.
So now I understand when people it's probably not as bad as those people who play Ultimate Team, but when people are just, I don't know, something about when you love a game so much and I felt that everything I got up until that point was really, really good. And I got my money.
So it was just extra at that point.
That buying that little extra, the coins to buy some extra skins, stuff like that. Which again, they're just skins. Nothing fucking matters. To buy that didn't bug me. Because I felt like I already got my money's worth. Because they did provide a lot, and all that extra content that they threw in was actually really fucking great. There was I think that they supported it for 6 to 8 months after the fact, maybe even a year. I don't remember, but it was a long time, which I was not expecting them to do at all, which was great. And also I got really good online, so I was able to win coins pretty well. So it wasn't like I was buying everything through microtransactions, but I get it. but only when you have a like. But to me, that was like people are just mad at microtransactions just for the purpose, for the sake of it, and I can understand that. But as we discussed before, I personally don't mind them if the base game is $60-$70 worth of your time. Like, because I'm in like the developers need to make money. Game development is expensive. Publishing to make money. Publishing is expensive. So you got to recoup your funds somehow. And I don't look at that as just like an evil thing to do. I think the implementation is evil, not the actual active microtransaction is evil. Because people will buy expansions for all types of games and not complain, not have any problems with it. So it's like, this is just a smaller version of it. Sometimes the prices are out of whack. I'll tell you that. Sometimes the prices from the shit is stupid. But like, as long as you gave me the base game, and I feel like as long as developers give people the base game, people won't complain as much. They'll probably still complain. There'll be people complain. Like Angry Joe's always going to complain. I love that guy. I love him, but he's definitely for the consumer, and that's fine. But like, I just honestly feel like if people can give customers a great game, and then there's microtransactions, to the side of that as well, people will be like, oh well, whatever. I mean, like, not to the point where they're like, what? Not only is this game shit, but now you want to nickel and dime everything I got. Is like, like that's what's going to happen. But I feel like if you just give a good game, which I thought CTR was, I was like, okay, whatever, not a big deal to me. Yeah. That's kind of a bit of an aside.
I think just like to kind of wrap things up, I think like whereas the Microsoft transaction with acquisition, there was more questions about, is this good for gaming? Is this good for the consumer? Like, what's going to go? There's so many questions, and not a lot are going to get answered anytime soon. Mainly because it was, this is huge, this Bungie Sony thing, but it's about 20 times less big than.
No, it's wait. So you said 20.
3 billion compared to this almost 70 billion.
It's almost like 25 times more, I think.
Yeah. So, of course there's a lot more questions, but I think I'm more comfortable saying that this is going to be a net good for us as gamers. I think that Bungie is going to be, I honestly believe Bungie is going to put out a new IP in the next 5 years, and I bet it's going to be dope. And I'm excited for that. Another thing I think that we should address, because it's flying around online, I think it's just Sony bros trying to feel better about themselves, is that a lot of people were like, oh yeah, you see Sony punching back at Microsoft. Oh yeah, we got Bungie.
It's not a
one. It's not the same thing.
It's not.
Stop.
It's just it's just one developer.
Also, it has been confirmed, and if you if you understand how these kind of things happen, this transaction has been in talks for 6 months. So it is not a they bought Activision. God, lost the name. Microsoft bought Activision. Let's go buy Bungie. Like, that's not how it happened. This has been in the works for 5-6 months.
It's great timing.
It is great timing.
I mean, but it's not.
It stokes the flames for sure.
Nobody, you don't just decide to spend $4 billion overnight. Like, that takes time.
I don't know, man. Some people don't know money, man.
It's just great timing. That's it. I thought that too. I was like, yo, this is almost like too fortuitous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is crazy. It is crazy timing. So, but yeah, it's not the same. No, it's a good first strike. I'll say that it's a nice little. It
shows
strike.
That they're still alive. It shows that they're not giving up.
I was wondering, because Sony's been quiet, really quiet, this whole week since it happened, and I was kind of wondering how long they were going to be quiet, and be like, I thought they might have been like, here's our Game Pass, and it was going to be like a fucking like, I don't know what they're going to do, like
PS1 games, PS2 games, PS3.
Yeah, this is like you don't even need an emulator. Just grab any disc. Works. All of them. Like, every single game works. Just doesn't matter. Oh, and by the way, we got them all in the store right now. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought they were going to do something like that. Right?
You just do the Konami code on your PlayStation home screen, and it just like unlocks all the games.
For 1 week only, you can download as many games as you want off the store. Just put in the Konami code.
You break the freaking
There you
internet.
go. Bro, that was I quit my job. Like I got all the gaming I need forever. Anyways, yeah. So I mean, it's a nice little clap back. Make no mistakes,
Even
guys.
unintended,
Don't get your fucking stop. All right, just stop embarrassing me. Okay, as a Sony guy, because it's come on, let's be more pragmatic here, people. I know we're all sad that we lost Crash. I don't think we're mad about COD. I think we're just mad about Crash. I think we're mad we lost.
I think you're mad
about Crash. No, I think we are all mad about Crash and Spyro and Tony Hawk. No, but we'll see what happens. I still think that they need to fucking buy Square.
Somebody was saying that. So there was some.
They're not getting EA. They're not getting EA.
No, what culture was put out a video that said that they should buy Capcom? And
can you say that again? You cut out.
What culture put out a video that said they should buy Capcom?
I forgot all about fucking Capcom. Didn't they just pull out of the gaming and like the console gaming? They just pull? No, because they pulled out of something recently. No, because Sega pulled out of the arcade. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, Capcom does Resident Evil.
I got mixed up. Might be.
Yeah.
Capcom's. I would kind of equate Capcom honestly to Square. They both have long histories with PlayStation.
Yeah.
Long histories. Their franchise started, or at least are closely associated with Sony. Wasn't Final Fantasy VII exclusive on PlayStation? The remake? Wasn't that exclusive for like a year or 6 months or something like that?
It was, but yeah, it's on both now.
Like it was a timed exclusive, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, Capcom would be a good one too. Maybe even what's that one? Yeah, Sega, maybe even too. I don't know. But I feel Square or Capcom would be good. Would they be good? I mean, they both don't compare, but they'd be good because they already have long histories, and I think Square still owns the IP for Lara Croft as well. I think for Tomb Raider.
I think I saw.
They don't make it. They don't make it, but I think they still own the IP, or at least they're still publishing it. So I mean, obviously that's a huge lineage as well. Yeah, I mean, those would be smart choices, but they obviously wouldn't be in the same level. Honestly, the only thing in my mind that could compete is if they bought either Rockstar or EA. Those are the only two that I think
don't have the money.
That I think would even come close to this.
They'd have to take out a second mortgage on their house.
On their headquarters.
Yeah, to afford one of those.
They would have to sell off IPs to be able to buy that one. They would have to sell like God of War, Horizon, just to be able to buy Rockstar.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just strike like an incredibly lucrative deal.
I'll put it this way:
exclusivity for GTA.
I'll put it this way:
another opportunity, another choice.
It is more likely that Microsoft buys Rockstar right now than Sony buying Rockstar. Like, it is more plausible that Microsoft goes out and spends like another $30 billion to buy Rockstar.
I wouldn't even know how much Rockstar's got to be.
I don't even know.
It's got to be at least half of Activision.
But it is more likely that Microsoft buys Rockstar than PlayStation buys Rockstar.
You have to say that, man. Like, Bethesda first, Activision next, and then bro. That would be. I don't care what anyone says. That is almost a monopoly right there. Like, what else is there to do? Like, Sony can't compete. Nintendo doesn't. We don't talk about Nintendo. They do their own fucking thing and somehow still make millions and millions of dollars. But like, they somehow found the rainbow. But Sony, what can you do after that, man? I mean,
hey, big businesses die all the time, man. Like, Nokia used to be a huge thing in the phone game, and now they're nothing. Just because a guy comes in and takes your lunch doesn't mean that there's no lunches to go around. It just means that he took your lunch. Doesn't mean he took everybody's lunch. On
that philosophical note, we're going to wrap things up here today, guys. yeah, so thanks for listening. Thanks for enjoying. If you guys are here to the end, you guys are absolute legends. Appreciate you guys bringing that watch time to us, which we love so much, so much.
I don't ever check. I'm just here for
I mean,
you. I don't
I
care.
don't really check either.
We're just saying big
so
YouTube words.
yeah, the trigger words. I don't know. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. We really enjoy it. We'll be back next week. I'm still streaming Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. I don't have a schedule. It's whenever the fuck I feel like it, but at least twice a week. I try to do at least twice a week, just because I also want to be done with that fucking game. So I can move on to Neo. I want to play Neo on the channel, on the live stream. It's gonna be great. Yeah, guys. So we will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining. If you guys have any thoughts on what we said below, or what we said, put them below. Put them down below about anything that we might have said, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.